Hello, my name is Jerry Jeffcoat, and I'm the School Media Specialist for Francis Mack Intermediate School in Gaston, South Carolina. And today I am here to talk to you about student book talks as a learning strategy or a reading strategy. And the book that I'm going to talk about or model doing a book talk with is The War I Finally Won, which I'm just going to start as if you were a 5th or 6th grader, and then I'll talk some more about it later. So, hello class, I'm so glad y'all are here today. I want to talk about the book, The War I Finally Won. This is a book I read recently that I just loved. It is actually a sequel to the book, The War That Saved My Life, but you don't have to read The War That Saved My Life to read this one because it catches you up really quick. But anyway, this is about a girl, and there's some horses involved, and let's see, it takes place during World War II, when the folks in London sent their children out to the countryside. What they would do is they would find somebody that would take their kids, and they would ask them, would you take my children? And the kids would then be sent off to the countryside so they would be safe if London was bombed. And it turned out to be quite an effective thing, but it really happened. So this happened to the main character. And let's see, World War II, horses, main character. So anyway, I wanted to read a segment of this book to you, and it's really, really good. So here we go. A little over a year ago, I taught myself to walk in Ma'am's one-room London flat. I kept it secret, wiping up the blood before Ma'am could come home every day. I only wanted to be able to leave the flat. Not the city, but learning to walk saved me. When Ma'am sent Jamie away from London with all of the other kids because of Hitler's bombs, I snuck out too. We ended up with Susan and Butter in a seaside village in Kent. Susan didn't want us then. We didn't want her either, but I wanted her pony, and Jamie and I both liked her food, and eventually we all three wanted to stay with each other. Of course, that was when Ma'am showed up. Only a week that was. Susan decided to fight for us. She followed us to London, which meant we were all away from Susan's house the night Germans bombed her home. So the worst thing, Ma'am's return, became the best thing, not dying from the bombs. Now everyone was acting like my surgery tomorrow would be the best thing ever, which made me worry that it might turn out bad. Susan said it could be bad. She said she hoped my foot would work properly after the surgery, but if it didn't, it would be fine. I was fine now, and I would be fine afterwards, no matter what. Maybe. So that is just a little taste of the book, and we know that the young lady is going to have a surgery. I'll tell you, she had a club foot. And her mother had not properly cared for her when she was a child, so it never got fixed. So that's what she's talking about in this section. And so this book here, The War I Finally Won, kind of relates to this book here, which is a nonfiction book that I wanted y'all to see about too. This is We Will Not Be Silent, and it also deals with World War II issues as well. So we have a fiction book and we have a nonfiction book. And if you like this, maybe you like this. And if you like this, maybe you like this. Ooh, and they're all available for you to check out here in the library. So that was my little book talk. And I have found that it is completely and utterly impossible to get kids to read sometimes if they don't know a little bit about the book. And I tell them often that the cover is a very, very important thing. You've all heard, you can't judge a book by the cover, but people spend billions of dollars trying to get covers to look the way they do so that they will market this book to particular people. And so this is another important thing about a book talk, is talking about the cover. So the description of the strategy is to just talk about the book. I would recommend that you had read the book first. I did, in fact, read The War That Saved My Life and The War That I Finally Won, and I've had numerous girls check it out because I did a book talk. Let's see how this could be used for instruction. It is infinitely more interesting to read a book if somebody recommends it and you're excited about reading it. So if you're in a classroom and you're teaching a book about science and you want to have children read maybe a nonfiction book or biography about a particular scientist or something, do a book talk about it. Maybe show them some pictures of the actual scientist and you've got them. So this could work in any content course. It certainly works for a librarian. I used to teach art. It worked for my art students as well. I would get them to reading all sorts of interesting things about points in history, doing book talks. Let's see. Our professor asked for a graphic organizer or step-by-step instructions. There is no graphic organizer for this, really. It's sort of, you read the book, you talk about the book, you know your audience, so you say the things that would interest them. I know that my young ladies are interested in books about young ladies. I know I have girls that really, really, really like horses. I also have a bunch of students who are very, very interested in World War II. So any of those three angles would work here, and I'm sure it would work if you know your students. You can find that thing that they're interested in and talk about that with the book. How can this particular thing be used in different grade levels? I'm not quite sure how well a book talk is going to work if you're talking about Pete the Cat. Usually you just read the whole book to them and then they want to check it out. But the older the child, I would say probably second grade and older, if they want to read a chapter book, just read a small segment, talk about the main character, and off you go. Some examples of how I've done this before, I've just said, is I do this probably weekly with my students. I do a book talk, or I will read an excerpt from something that is probably more timely, like the Junior Book Awards or the Children's Book Awards, and then I give it to them. I put it out and let them check it out. It is very, very successful. I would love to be able to have students do book talks, and I do have students do book talks. Unfortunately, I would have to have a media release to have a student do a book talk example here, and I'm not quite sure getting a media release is a good idea right now for me. But anyway, thank you very much. I hope that this has been helpful for you. If you have any questions, you can email me at fordjl3@edu.usc.edu. No. Anyway, thank you very much. Goodbye.